Hello and welcome to another fun-filled nonsense retrospective. I'm your host as always, Rick. Joining me equally as always is Devon.
Hello!
Yeah, that was a bit of a throwback. It was a little less than we used to do, but yeah, before we get too far into what we're doing today, which is a grab bag of littler topics all to do with the Flash generation, let's go with our good old time-honored tradition of the nonsense asinine hypotheticals. And what have you got for me today?
Yeah, I've got a question completely unrelated and devoid of our grab bag theory. Theory? Category. That's the word I was looking for. Why did I say theory?
Because it's just a theory. A Flash theory.
I've never ever... Is it Matt Pat who used to do Game Theory?
Yeah.
It's amazing how he penetrated the zeitgeist, because I never watched Game Theory. It didn't interest me at all, and yet even I'm aware of that fucking intro.
Yep. So because everyone just parodies it, it's like was it like Ghostbusters or whatever? You've not seen it, but like you've consumed enough about it that it's Back to the Future. You've not seen it, but you've consumed enough about it through parodies that you know exactly everything that happens.
At least in the first film. Same can be said for the Star Trek movie.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Star Trek 12. So very tired.
But yeah, my question for you today, completely divorced from the topic, is I think it's a fun one. You get to basically go back in time to when someone was in their heyday, in their prime, and you get to sleep with them. Who do you pick? The caveat is they have to have died before the year 1900. They
have to have died before 1900. Oh, man.
So it's essentially a historical figure, but a historical figure that can't have existed in living memory.
Yeah, I think I'd go and see what all the fuss was about Cleopatra, because, you know, she caused wars from being hot, apparently.
Cleopatra is one of those weird figures where the thing that I read, and it might be bollocks, is she wasn't even apparently that attractive. It was just she was more attractive than any other pharaoh because she was the least deformed from all the incest.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically it. I'd go back, see what all the fuss is about. You got this goth Greek girl sat on top of all of Egypt. And,
where'd the goth come from?
Well, because people always like draw her with like goth features, like they give her the.
But that's not how that works, Rick. You're not getting that version.
Well, they give her like the heavy eyeliner. They give her the Tharja hair, all that shit.
I'm just saying, like, by that logic, I'm going to go back in time and fuck King Arthur because Fate Go made her pretty.
Yeah. But yeah, who are you picking?
I'm picking Anne Boleyn.
Alright, okay.
Like, by all accounts, she was an attractive lady. The only reason she got executed is because she gave birth to a girl.
Yeah, and Henry wanted additional strange.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, officially, by the King's decree, she got executed for adultery. Witchcraft?
Yeah, she was the witchcraft one.
Pretty sure it was adultery as well, wasn't it?
Oh, it might have been.
Oh, who knows?
That might have been one of the prerequisites for witchcraft was doing adultery.
There's a real quick way to find this out, because we could both be completely wrong and be smirching Miss Anne Boleyn's memory. Treason.
Treason, okay. I don't know why he executed the second one, though, like Catherine Howard or whatever.
I couldn't. Divorced, beheaded, died. Divorced, beheaded, survived. I don't think Catherine got killed and murdered.
It was Catherine, Anne Jane, and Catherine. So yeah, it would have been one of the Catherines.
Oh, fair enough. He had 3 Catherines, didn't he?
Yeah, type.
Downfall and execution. Okay, as Anne recovered from her miscarriage, lovely bloke Henry declared that he had been seduced into the marriage by means of sortilege, a French term indicating either deception or spells. His new favourite, Jane Seymour, was quickly moved into royal quarters at Greenwich. Jane's brother Edward and his wife, for the sake of property, moved her. This was followed by Anne's brother George Boleyn being refused a prestigious honour. Okay, yeah, charges of adultery, incest and treason. So officially it would have been adultery, incest and treason, but this is King Henry. Those charges were almost certainly either bullshit or exaggerated.
Yeah, so literal trumped up charges.
And also, come on, like fucking King Henry executing someone for adultery.
Yeah. He was very definitely the template for Trump. Oh boy. But yes,
I didn't bring him up. I don't know why you did.
Yeah.
What's your question, Rick?
My one for you is congratulations, ghosts exist.
Oh, no.
Would you become a ghost?
Would I become a ghost? What's the alternative?
You don't know.
Well, that's a real useless bargain. It's like, ghosts exist, do you want to become a ghost? And it's like, well, I still don't know what the alternative is, so this is a real Faustian bargain at best.
Yeah, so the alternative is, just like in real life, you don't know what lies beyond, apart from that now you know that there is a choice of being a ghost or not.
It's one of those where I'll take my chances.
All right.
I don't know what the rules are for ghosts.
Well, neither do I, but
here's the problem, Rick, is you've sent the question of you could become a ghost after you die, but it's like, what does that actually mean? What are the rules?
Yeah, so, like, you can't... You're probably not a poltergeist unless you're, like, particularly wrathful. Probably the more powers that you have, the more restricted you are in where you can be.
Oh, so you get powers now?
Well, like being a poltergeist, I would say, is a power, because that's the ability to affect the world. Being more than just visible is probably a power, so that would just probably bind you to a place. So, like, if you're a wailing banshee kind of guy. Otherwise, if you're just kind of like a mostly incorporeal spirit that can just go around and observe, you're probably going to be a little bit less restricted and you can go where you want.
But what's the point?
Well, for me, my answer is that I would take the deal no matter what, because I am petrified by the concept of cessation of existence.
Okay, but what's the point in going on if there's nothing for you?
To stave off the fear.
But the fear just changes from you stop. We don't even know if you stop existing in this scenario, because if ghosts exist, there's a non-0% chance that heaven and hell exist, or reincarnation, or some other bullshit that's clearly not true. And so it's one of those where you've automatically increased your chances of there not being a cessation, because you know there's at least one alternative, and some mystical being from the heavens has decided to give you a little fucking contract like the Death Note, just saying, tick here if you want to be a ghost when you die.
Yeah.
And when you're a ghost when you die, what do? You can't interact with nothing. I guess you can watch, but that's going to get boring.
Dressed almost entirely as Superman.
Yeah, but jokes aside, what's the point?
Yeah, I suppose.
The point of becoming a ghost in your mind is, at least I'll still continue being, but what's the point in continuing being if you can't do anything?
Well, I don't really do much now, so...
Rick, you won't be able to play video games. You won't be able to watch whatever you want. You'd have to find someone else who is already watching it and then sort of fucking do that. And it would almost certainly always be someone doing Netflix and chill. So while you're watching your new animes, some fucking poor girl on prom night's getting fingered.
Oh man, well, they're watching fucking Seven Deadly Sins.
No one can be horny while watching Seven Deadly Sins. Trust me, I've tried.
I don't know, you might be into Escanor.
I'm not. But yeah, it's a silly question. I'm not becoming a ghost when the rules of being a ghost aren't even clear to the person who's offering me the power. Get fucked.
Yeah. Yeah, but today we're doing a grab bag of Flash things from the Flash era, and you suggested that we do them in order of release. So the first little one we're going to be talking about is Newgrounds.
Yeah, so we're calling this the Flash era because of Newgrounds, and we could just the title of the video is going to have all things. We're doing Neopets, Newgrounds, and Gaia Online today. Gaia Online's on there because it technically had some Flash games, but it's mainly a forum messaging site, and it's probably the one we're going to talk about the least, because having a grab bag with two things is dumb.
Yeah. So Newgrounds was pretty much the springboard for a lot of people who are still active today, like Aaron, for instance. He was Ego Raptor on Newgrounds, and he was known on there for the Awesome series, so like Metal Gear Awesome, Sonic Awesome, things like that.
Yeah, you've also got Psychic Pebbles, aka Zach, aka the person who co-created Smiling Friends.
Yeah.
And you've also got basically anyone who's appeared on Only Plays, chances are he met them on Newgrounds.
Yeah. And I mean, this goes pretty deep as well, because like Aaron also met people on there that became part of the Grumps, like Ross, I believe, was also part of on Newgrounds, and there's a lot of cultural cross-pollination between the two gangs.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. So what is Newgrounds? For those of you who never used Newgrounds, because honestly, I find it both fascinating and I'm immensely grateful and glad that Newgrounds still somehow fucking exists.
Yeah. It was especially useful when Tumblr put in the porn ban, because Newgrounds were like, oh yeah, we don't have a porn ban. You just need an account.
Yep. Yeah. And guess what? Back in the day, you didn't need an account.
No. Like, I don't know if you needed an account to view anything that was sus, but I don't think they had things that were sus on there at the time.
I can tell you this for a fact: as a young budding teenager, I was greatly influenced by the Meat and Fuck series.
Okay.
And you did not need an account to play those games.
Sure.
You just needed to click a button that said, "Yes, I'm 18."
Sure. Which they only put in there to stave off bother.
Yeah. And let me tell you guys, if you've never played a Meat and Fuck game, you're not missing out on much. They weren't good in any sense of the word. However, it was pornography you could easily access.
Yeah. Like, a lot of the times we had things like that were just generic Flash animations. So they used Flash only as the vehicle for you have a button that says play, and then you watch the movie. And this predates YouTube.
It does. I mean, even when YouTube first started, they didn't really have animations on there.
No. And if they did, it was just a recording of someone's Flash animation.
It was someone fucking just pressing play on Newgrounds.
Yeah.
So let's talk about possibly one of the famous examples of a Newgrounds animation. Correct me if I'm wrong, but was Ultimate Showdown not originally a Newgrounds animation?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So if you've ever... And here's the thing, Rick, is that thing came out so long ago, I'm genuinely curious. I'd have to ask some of the kids at work and see, have you ever even seen this? Have you even heard of this?
Yeah, because, the song was separate as well.
Well, I was unaware of that. I've only ever seen the animation.
Yeah, so the song was by a group called Lemon Demon, and they also did the Adrian Brody song, which you might know from the My Little Pony sphere.
No.
Okay, it's the one where Scootaloo just walks across. But yeah, there was one where it was literally just with Adrian Brody. But yeah, the song was separate, and then they put the animation to the song as well. I believe at the time Mr. Rogers was even still alive.
Yeah, he would have been.
Yeah, that's how long ago it was.
Well, just to put into perspective, Rick, this website is older than most of my co-workers.
Yeah.
Again, this website is damn near 30 years old. In fact, it will be 30 years old next year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm glad Tom Falk's still in charge of it.
Yes. They did a couple of games out of it as well. I think Alien Hominid and Castle Crashers were basically Newgrounds properties.
That sounds right. I mean, let's talk about that, because Flash games as an industry has just completely collapsed because Flash doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. So things that became full games like Castle Crashers, because I used to play Castle Crashers to death when I was younger. Obviously old enough to have an Xbox 360 because that's what I played it on, but younger than I am today. It was a treat. You could very definitely see parts of the humor style that was ingrained in Newgrounds as a whole, which was mostly lol random, but they also had a few bits of early memes before meme was a top text bottom text template.
Yeah, I get you, man. I get you. But I remember there were some games on Newgrounds that were just, here's a collection of funny images I found on the internet. Press X button to see an image, and it's cool. How is this a game?
And if you find the right pixel, then you get the secret image.
Yeah, which was just a fucking gore image because, hey, guess what? Newgrounds was a fuck for that.
Yeah.
Newgrounds was possibly one of the first times where people would... I personally experienced just random strangers on the internet trying to fuck with as many people as possible before they got found out.
Yep.
The amount of things where it was find X in Y scenario, and it was basically find Waldo, but a bit more obscured in the sense that it wasn't Waldo, but that's what you're doing. And you'd find it, you'd click on it, and your reward would be a jump scare.
Yeah, or even better, it wasn't there, and you were looking for it, and you were concentrating, and then the jump scare played after a certain amount of time.
Yeah, I distinctly remember a game which I don't believe was on Newgrounds. I mean, it might have been, but I don't think it was, where it was the amazing super hard maze game. And level 1 would be nice and easy, level 2 would be easy, level 3 would be very easy to start with, and then what would happen is the very last stretch was pixel perfect to fit your cube from, and you had to use your mouse to move it. So, and because it was pixel perfect, everyone would do the same fucking thing, and that is lean in close to the screen to see the pixels, and then you'd inevitably fuck up, and then the girl from The Exorcist would fill your screen while also making the loudest scream ever, which wasn't too big of a deal unless you had headphones on, in which case you would shit yourself and possibly have minor auditory issues.
Yep. Yeah, those kind of things were incredibly common.
Yeah.
Another one I remember, you remember Happy Tree Friends?
I'm aware of the name and I'm aware of the franchise, but I've never actually watched any.
So this technically wasn't on Newgrounds. This was on like a different website. But Happy Tree Friends got its own ripoff on Newgrounds called Retarded Animal Babies.
Okay, here's the thing: is I also remember that name.
Yeah.
And I think I might have scrolled past that one day because I think I probably read the title and went, "That's dumb."
Yep. It very definitely was dumb. And they even mention that it rips off Happy Tree Friends, Blam this piece of shit. And Blam was their term for giving something 0 stars.
Oh, fair enough. I can't remember that being an option.
Yeah, you could rate things like, it might be 1 star, but like you could rate things like 1 to 5.
Yeah, 1 to 5, but I don't remember being able to rate 0 unless you just didn't rate.
Yeah, I guess 1 was Blam then, and that was the angry version of the guy, as opposed to the super happy one, which was like the 5 star. And like, I'll be honest, having a crowd-sourced rating system, it was decent because not a lot of people would vote super wrong, you know?
Yeah. I mean, shit, man. We're from the generation where, again, there'll be kids who probably don't remember this, but when I started watching YouTube, that also had a rating system. You could rate things 1 to 5 star. If you go back in time and look at really old YouTube videos, you know how you get people saying like, comment, and subscribe? Back in the day, they'd be like...
rate, comment, subscribe, yeah.
They wouldn't even say rate. They'd say, just give us those 5 stars down the bottom there.
Yeah.
As if they're your mates.
I remember the... Rob as King of Sweden when he did the Skyrim unarmed build where it's like, get you a dental appointment. It would be rate, comment, subscribe, also like and favorite.
Yeah, man, YouTube was fucking, I wouldn't say it was wild, but such a different beast back when we were first using it.
Yeah. Like, here's the thing, I also didn't know about adblock until after all of these things. So I was on Newgrounds without adblock, and I don't remember ads.
I also don't remember ads. But here's the thing is, I think we were both using Newgrounds before ads were a massive part of it.
Yeah.
And I think when they did have ads, I think they were just banners.
Yeah, so there might have been banners. Like, the thing that used to annoy me about animated banners, quote unquote, is that it would just be a banner that would then change to a different banner. And that's what drew your eye because it had changed. A change has taken place.
Yeah.
I also remember, like, paying money to EasyBoard to remove ads from our board.
Wow. I mean, I get it. If you don't know ad blocks, I mean, I don't think ad block was really as necessary back in the day.
Yeah.
Pop-up blockers were, because if you went on even one dodgy link, you'd have like 7 pop-ups.
Oh yeah, like if you had Firefox, that came with a pop-up blocker. And back in those days, I was using Firefox for the first time before I stopped using it and then came back to it more recently.
I never stopped Firefox. Give me money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Even had,
go on.
I had an old PC that used like a fork of Firefox that was like really low resource intensive, called Lollyfox.
That's a bad name.
Yeah, it was made by someone on 4chan.
Oh, that just makes it grosser.
Yeah,
because that means they knew.
Yeah, they did. But yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I remember back when we started this podcast, and you were like, you were talking about doing something on Chrome, and to just press this, and I was like, I don't use Chrome, I use Firefox, and you laughed at me.
It was less laugh, it was more, okay, so Firefox in 2019?
We started this podcast in 2021, my friend.
Was it 2021? I thought it was 2020. Oh well, fair enough.
I can tell you the year because a thing happened in week 2.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I know, right? We won't bring that up again. Yeah, so there's lots of fond memories of Newgrounds. I remember when Flash died, their workaround is they basically made a Flash player that wasn't a Flash player.
Yeah, they called it the Newgrounds player, and it was just an instanced version of Flash.
Yeah, and it was such a good idea, and it means a lot of things. I know I harp on about it a lot on this podcast, but preservation is something I really do care about when it comes to the internet. Yeah,
like certain things you can't do because a Flash thing that's connected to a server, which there were many of, like things like Plants vs. Zombies was a Flash game. Balloons were Flash games. Like, they would be connected to servers, and if you're insane, you could pay money. Like, you could log in through the Flash game and have an account that you unlocked things with and paid money for to get more. I never did that because I wasn't insane. But I could see the attraction for someone who was a little bit more rich in money, a little less rich in time.
I'll tell you this, the only gaming... I never even had a Newgrounds account. Like, I used to, because you didn't need one to access anything, which, again, great thing to have on your website.
Yeah.
I don't blame people for having account systems, especially with how monetization and stuff works nowadays. But, you know, like, you couldn't rate things without an account.
No. But if all you wanted to do was consume, then why would you bother?
Exactly. And, like, it's not like I was creating anything on Newgrounds. It didn't even occur to me that, I could make stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those, like, I saw creation as, like, a line in the sand between me as a consumer and other creative types whose entire, being is creation,
But Rick, you're creating a podcast right now.
Okay, this is me now. I'm talking about me when I was 19 and, like, 16 and 13.
I'm just saying, who'd have thunk it in 20 years' time?
Yeah. In 20 years' time, you can do something that is just recording shit over the internet while you're having a glorified phone call.
Yeah, because I do everything else.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, the only account I did have, and this is how they suckered me in, is they had achievements. I had an account on Congregate.
Was that the one with a K?
It was the one with a K, yeah. I believe they had an ant logo at one point as well.
Yeah. So they had, they were where I went for most of my tower defense games because I got suckered into that genre rather easily.
That is exactly the games I played on that website, was tower defense games.
Yeah, tower defense games on Congregate. The thing that was on Newgrounds that wasn't much other places, though, was Sonic Flash, which was just assets from Sonic Advance put into a Flash version of Sonic that just played like shit, but for a lot of people, that was just the way that you played it for free.
I mean, no one's going to criticize you.
Yeah.
Oh, do you remember Morbidly Obese Mario?
No.
Oh, God, it was so funny. It was an interactive game, but just, because it just recreated level 1-1 of Mario, and so it was literally just go from left to right, except Mario is massive.
Yeah.
But like a puddle of sludge while being massive, and you just move from left to right, and he would destroy everything, blocks, creatures. When he went over gaps, you'd see his little tiny feet dangling. Because he couldn't jump, he would just slightly move in a way that made the character model go up tall.
Yeah, sure.
I believe level 2 had you fight Bowser, and the moment you get on the bridge just breaks.
And I'm guessing that's the end.
I think so. It's been a hot minute since I've touched that, but it's very funny. You could probably find a clip of it on YouTube. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, the fat one that I played was the Fat Sonic one where the rings are onion rings, and like over time he just gets fat, and if he gets to a certain point, then he'll just like sit down and have a heart attack and die. But you can burn it off by running.
But if it's a Sonic game, why don't you be constantly running?
Well, you are, but also quite a lot of the time you can't avoid rings because it's the same level layout as normal. So you're gonna do your best to avoid as many rings as you can.
That's wild. Like that's so counter. Like it's a fun little concept for a little game, but yeah, that's mental.
Yeah, and apparently the game is beatable. You just need to
know what
plan.
You're doing.
Yeah, plan how to play differently to how you're programmed to play,
and assumedly not take any hits.
Oh yeah, that's just standard Sonic gameplay.
Yeah, but you only need one ring.
Yeah, and if you're fat when you lose your rings, you don't get skinny. You're just fat with no rings, and you pick them up again and eat them again, and it contributes to the problem. Oh boy,
I'm sure there's a subtle message about bulimia in there.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah. Newgrounds is great. I've not touched anything in Newgrounds in ages. I've actually decided today to just bring up all these websites just to see how they're doing nowadays. And I've got to be honest with you, Newgrounds doesn't seem to have changed that much.
It doesn't. It looks and feels similar, except now a lot of people's pages are set out a little bit more like DeviantArt.
Sure, I've not actually clicked on any pages. I've just got the main page up.
Yeah. I have an account now because of the Tumblr ban.
That's fair. I know Plague of Gripes moved to Newgrounds as soon as Tumblr banned porn.
Yeah, like I follow a few people on there, a couple of which I know like properly, a couple of which I do not. Never the twain shall meet because some of them are a bit controversial in the scene. But yeah, they're the material is there, and things that are not just on Twitter end up on there as well, and things that are on Twitter end up up on there, because if it's on Twitter, it's going to get buried.
True enough. Yeah, so what have we got on the Newgrounds front page? We've got a banner at the top saying ex-user just joined the crew. I'm not going to name them because there's a good chance they're not going to have joined the crew when someone clicks on this in the future. You can pay $2.99 to become a supporter of Newgrounds, which is incredibly cheap, and also you don't have to do it, so you know.
Yeah, okay. I'm assuming that's per month.
I assume it's a monthly subscription. I don't know, I'm not going to click it to find out.
Yeah, I don't live on Newgrounds, so yeah. I think DeviantArt does something similar where you can be like a devious deviant and and you get like a few little benefits like no ads and stuff like that, but yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Featured movies, they all look like the Newgrounds animation style. You've got Gordon Ramsay baffled by restaurant amateurs, which looks like it's drawn like, you know, that Bill Burr cartoon.
Yeah.
You've got Yugi Plays a Modern TCG, which is something I think I'm going to watch later on because that sounds quite fun.
Yeah, I like that.
It looks like it's done in the same art style as that video you showed me ages ago of Yugi Plays Poker.
Okay. I play the 2 of clubs face down in defense mode.
No, it's better than that. And don't forget, by your own rules, Joker's wild. Ah! And the room explodes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so dumb. I love it. We got a bunch of featured games, so it's nice to see that free games still exist to internet users. They look all neat. They do look reminiscent of games I used to play when I was 12.
Man, the loss of Flash means that like the little Easter eggs that you get in a Flash animation, like finding the pixel and clicking the thing, you just lose that when you're watching a YouTube replay of something.
You're absolutely correct. However, because Flash existed, all you had to do was press tab and it would highlight clickable things.
Sure. I didn't know that.
It might not have been tab, but there was a button you could press on your keyboard and it would just highlight shit. You got featured art, you got featured audio, you got best new games and movies. It's just a very easy way to... I shouldn't have to say this in 2024, but this website is just easy to navigate.
Yeah, and it's a nice little snapshot into the past, if the past had never ended.
Right, for real. If I didn't know better, this apart from the fact the logo isn't the tank anymore.
Yeah. It'd feel like you were still in 2003.
For real. I'm just bookmarking that Yu-Gi-Oh animation because it's going to be fun.
Sweet.
I haven't got much else to add, really. Again, 30 years old next year. The one thing I will add, because it's a little notification I got, of March this year, the site's reporting system was updated to allow the reason for something to be reported was because it was generated by AI.
Oh, okay.
Considering the nature of Newgrounds, totally understandable.
Yeah, you it's good to have that check and balance in there.
Yeah.
And it's also good for them to have a blanket stance on it as well.
Yeah, too many websites are very wishy-washy and non-committal.
Yeah, like I could start a DeviantArt page separate to my regular one right now that is just AI slop. And like, I'm definitely not going to do it because I don't agree with earning money from it. I could just charge for commissions for AI slop as well. It's silly.
It's very much like, again, I think the thing that encapsulates it perfectly is that one guy on Twitter who was, and again, it's written so perfectly that I wouldn't be surprised if it was a shit post, but apparently it's completely legit. Like, it deserves to be on Not the Onion, where this guy's like, I believe it went, I'm not quoting here because I don't have it in front of me, it essentially went, all these artists bitching about how now we can just create stuff at our own fingertips, something blah blah, I am an artist, and about 2 weeks later going, this is bullshit, this is unfair, people are stealing my generation posts. As in, the prompts that he would write into AI art generators. It's like, people are stealing them and making their own. This isn't fair. And it's like, how poetic and how quickly the tables have turned, Papa.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, goodness. Man, that statement, I am an artist, it's like when Andy Fordham said that I am an athlete.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, Andy Fordham was the Viking, a dart player. A decent dart player, but he wasn't even in the top league of darts.
Yeah, like, and I've seen certain darts players that do not look like they are athletes.
To Andy Fordham's credit, he lost like 200 pounds at one point, but he was a very large gentleman, and to say I am an athlete when you look at him and then look at, I don't know, fucking, let's pick a random fucking sports person, fuck, that's really...
Steve Redgrave.
Yeah, Steve Redgrave, that works. Like, come on, dude. I think he's dead now, so this might be a bit tasteless.
It's fine. His dinner wasn't tasteless.
But now it's tasteless. Good job, Rick. Thanks.
Yeah. Now the whole thing is tasteless. Neopets.
Yeah, Neopets. It's slightly more modern than Newgrounds in the sense that it came out in 1999 upon the turn of the millennium.
Yeah. So I remember playing on Newgrounds at school, and it was a way to play games at school on the school computers because they didn't know about blocking websites yet. So my friend and I would go into the school computer labs, and we would play bumper cars. We would sit next to each other, and one person would be on arrows, the other one would be on Q&E, and we'd bumper cars each other. It was great.
Okie dokie. You said Newgrounds, and I assume you meant Neopets.
Yeah, I meant Neopets, yeah. Because it was a Neopets game, and because I was logged in, I earned Neo coins from us playing bumper cars on school lunch break.
They were called Neo Points.
Neo Points, not Neo coins. Yeah, okay.
The symbol for them was a little coin symbol, so I don't blame you.
Yeah, it was a little gold coin, yeah.
I do just want to share something quite amusing, because when I went on a bit of a research dive, at the top of the Wikipedia page, it's got one of those things at the top, those little blurbs that are like, you may be confusing this for this. This one's got Quiggle and Codestone redirect here. For the US Navy Admiral, see Lynn C. Quiggle. For the type of artificial stone, see Coad stone.
Oh boy, yeah.
If there was anything...
a lot of the games, yeah.
Quiggle was the name of one of the Neopets. I believe it's a frog.
Sure, okay. Because I know generally because they had like their the pets were all kind of reminiscent somewhat of some Pokemon sometimes.
No, they weren't. They were just animals.
But they definitely had their own style, and they were a lot more universally slightly more humanized. You know what I mean?
Really.
Even the ones that were just animals just had that had the human spark to them, which some Pokemon like Diglett do not.
Sure. Oh Jesus! If you're on the Neopets website, they've got a fucking big old history book on the front page of just like, here's what Neopets looked like in 1999. Here's what it looked like in 2002. Here's what we did in 2004, 2005. In 2005, the Neopets PlayStation 2 video game came out.
Oh boy!
I don't remember that being a thing.
No, me either. Oh man.
Neopets: The Darkest Fairy in 2005.
Oh yeah.
Neopia is saved by Tormund and Roberta in The Darkest Fairy, released on PS2.
Yeah, The Darkest Fairy, like, Jadora was the Dark Fairy, wasn't she? Yeah, she was like... Because you had the Great Fairy, who was like the god of Neopets, who was like the Princess Celestia of Neopets, and then you had the Dark Fairy, who was Jadora, who... she was billed as being a bad guy, but when they started selling Neopet stuff at, like, Claire's, she was just, oh yeah, you buy this one if you're a goth girl.
In 2017, The Darkest Fairy is released from her prison of stone in the Wraith Resurgence plot. It took them 12 years.
Yeah, like an entire new gang of children who were not born when the Darkest Fairy was first imprisoned.
And we've got, basically when you get to 2024, it's got monthly updates, more or less, of just like, in June, the land of Dacadia is destroyed by a storm.
Okay. Yeah, because they had little different lands, didn't they? They had like the one that was like the medieval town, and they had the...
That was Meridell.
Yeah, and they had the prehistoric zone.
Tyrania.
Yeah. Yeah, Neo-Tyrania.
2024 November is the 25th anniversary of Neopets.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. Yeah, sorry, that was just shit. I've decided to just look at the website. Unfortunately, to click on any of the links, they're like, oh, you need to log in or have an account, and I'm like, I'm not going to do that.
I could probably recover my password because my account still exists.
My password isn't the problem. My username is the problem because I can't remember it for the life of me. And I certainly don't have the email address anymore.
Yeah, like, I still have the email addresses that I used back then. One of them's Hotmail, the other one's Gmail. And Gmail came later when you had to be invited.
But yeah, Neopets has got... We'll talk about our memories in a little bit, but Neopets is this really weird... had this really weird series of owners because I I was misinformed. I believe they were bought by Nickelodeon at one point. They weren't bought by Nickelodeon. They were bought by Viacom, which owns Nickelodeon.
Right, okay.
But they stuck the Nickelodeon logo on the website for a long-ass time.
Sure, because they were owned by the same parent company and they could.
Yeah, and it makes sense, because Nickelodeon is their kids' brand type thing, you know?
Yeah, like, if you think about Viacom, you don't think about children.
No, God, no. You think about evil and soulless corporation, because they are.
Yeah. So, yeah, a good move picking Nickelodeon, as in their king-friendly, their kid-friendly brand, to be their brand.
Do you want to talk about who's not kid-friendly?
Go ahead.
Their current owners, NetDragon, which are an NFT company.
Oh, shit.
Apparently they're not being anywhere near as bastardy with the Neopets thing, but NFT bros are not the nicest people.
No, especially when it's AI-generated NFTs.
Well, it doesn't make a difference, really. It's still evil, regardless.
Yeah.
Apparently, 26% of all users are between the age of 18 and 24.
Okay.
Hang on, let's do the math here. 26% are between 18 and 24. 40% between 25 and 34. Wow. Okay, so a lot of the users are people like us in our age range who are just like, man, do you remember Neopets?
Yeah, like 40% of users who just have an account and just haven't logged in 25 years. Oh boy.
I mean, it makes sense though, doesn't it?
Yeah. Like, I remember I have pets on there that have been starving for longer than, like, most of my nephews and nieces have been alive.
Oh, certainly. I remember back in the day, my old trick was to just, if you didn't have a lot of Neopoints, you could just go to the fucking...
Soup kitchen.
Yeah, and it's like, boy, wouldn't it be good if real life worked like this? Oh, you're hungry? Here's a tin of soup.
Yeah, you go to the soup kitchen, and even if you do have enough Neopoints to not qualify for the soup kitchen, you can still go to the giant omelette.
You could go to the giant omelette, and an omelette would feed for 3 meals.
Yeah, it was the best.
Yeah, I learned as a kid that when I played this game as a kid, you could have 4 Neopets.
Yes.
I learned that having 4 Neopets is a chore, so I got rid of all of them but one.
So you could feed the one with the omelette.
Pretty much, man. My Neopet was a mohawk, which is a warthog with a mohawk.
Yeah. My main one was an Usul, which is like a stood-up Eevee. I also got the one that was like a little dragon. And then I adopted one that was the Griffin Boy, which you couldn't get at the time, but someone decided to put one up for adoption. His name was Cloudy Storm, with zeros for O's.
Makes sense, yeah. Because your Neopets could also had to have unique names at a certain point.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, so you had to either get creative or have your thing be like Larry David Jr. 0076XX.
Larry David Jr.
Listen, I just pulled a name out my arse. I couldn't even tell you what my Neopet was called. All I know is that, there was certain pets that were limited. I never knew how to get them apart from getting lucky at the adoption centre, which I never did.
Yeah, brushes were a thing as well.
They were. That's how you coloured them.
Yeah, you could paint them with colours and brushes. Most of the time, to get the brushes, it was a ridiculous amount of Neopoints on the market, usually more than you could hold.
There was never a limit.
Okay, I thought there was like a limit of 1 million, so anything that cost more than 1 million was just 1 million plus tax.
I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just saying I don't remember there being a limit.
Okay, but yeah, it was a ridiculous amount of Neopoints to buy the interesting brushes, like the dark brush, which completely changed the character model, like gave them like dark fairy wings and stuff like that. It was great.
Yeah, there was a lot of those. Like you had a fairy brush would make your thing look like a fairy. They basically have brushes themed after the zones.
Yeah, the Tyranium brush made you into a caveman.
Yeah, you also just had bog standard colours, which you could buy for about 100 Neopoints because no one cared.
Yeah, these are the colours that you could select at creation.
Yeah.
So it was just a case of, did he pick the wrong colour? Well, not that much of a tough shit, just get one of these for nothing.
Yeah. So the big deal was that to get the special brushes, you either had to win a competition on the website or buy it from someone for an extortionate amount of money.
Yeah, buy it from someone who had won the competition. That was before they implemented like full-on monetization as well.
Yes, nowadays you can buy Neo Cash, which can only be used on Neo Cash things.
Yes.
In order to stop people from basically basically farming this money and being weird, you'd have to make these items untradeable.
Yeah.
I don't know if they did that. It's hard to say, because again, I've not used this website in about 15 years.
Yeah, I stopped using it before Neocache was like a mainstay.
Yeah.
Because like it's one of those things where if it's the main thing that you do when you're a kid, then that's what you're going to ask for like your birthday and pocket money and shit.
And that's exactly the plan.
Yeah, it's your target market is the wallets of parents of loud children.
Yep. I mean, there's that story of that guy who worked at EA Sports who had his credit card not stolen but borrowed by his kid without his knowledge.
Yeah.
And he bought like $200 worth of FIFA Ultimate Team packs. And when the parent found out, and obviously this story got out, and he did an interview and he said, I'm of two minds with this, because on the one hand, I'm really mad that this has happened to me, but on the other hand, this is kind of my job.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, you should be mad because you shouldn't be making kids do this.
Yeah. Like, you shouldn't make it this easy for kids to do this.
Like, again, the whole that lawsuit didn't end happily, but it also didn't go anywhere, where it was like, hey, this is gambling for kids, we should stop this. And as far as I'm aware, Belgium is still the only country that's done anything about it.
Yeah, pretty much. I think they were trying to do something in China, of all places, one of the places that are like super all in on gambling, but yeah, even that just ended up not happening.
Well, China's big thing with the gambling, with the gachas, are you're allowed to do it, but you have to have a website that shows you the exact percentage odds of getting certain things.
Yes.
Which is the minimum you should be able to do, and yet China's doing it when a lot of other people ain't.
Yeah, because like places like Fate Go, like you only know the odds from people having exhaustively rated how much money they spent to get Astolfo.
Except it's not true, because Fate Go is available in China, so therefore you just go on a Chinese website and it tells you.
Okay, well you can now.
This thing's been a thing since Fate Go's been out.
Yeah,
China's had access to gacha games for a long time, and they've had this more or less implemented since it began.
Fair enough.
And it hasn't dissuaded anyone, but it might.
Fair enough.
You know what I'm saying, though? A whale's gonna whale.
Oh, yes.
It's one of the problems. I think it's the first step, isn't it, to combat gacha bullshit, is to just have, here are the odds. The immediate... some people will see the word, here are the odds, and go, oh, this is gambling, where they would not have connected the dots before.
Yeah, especially when it's paid. Like, when it's just doing the thing for fun, it kind of doesn't matter what the odds are, because you're just doing it for fun and there's no way to put money in. But when there's a money aspect, that's when it becomes a problem.
Yeah, it's like when I'm going to use EA again. One of the arguments they used for being able to keep their loot boxes in and this and that, it's like a Kinder egg.
Yeah, it's a surprise mechanic.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay, no one's having a go at the surprise mechanic. If your way of unlocking things in game is via gacha, I actually don't have a problem with that. If that's how you unlock everything and there's no money being transacted.
Yeah.
But if you have to pay for them, that's not a surprise mechanic. That's trying to leech money away from mentally ill people.
Yeah, like, I think the maybe the happy medium way of doing it is you pay to unlock a banner, and then once you've got that banner, you can only get rolls from in-game stuff.
No, there should be no money involved.
Yeah, fair enough.
No money involved at all. Unless you are a gambling game and you put on the box 18 plus only, because this is for gamblers.
Yeah.
And even then, gambling still preys on the vulnerable.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely.
Man, we're talking about Neopets, and this conversation came about because Neopets decided to introduce Neocache, which isn't even gacha, it's just a premium option.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not even gambling, it's just culturally adjacent to other people who are more scummy than this.
Yeah, because I have no issue with people charging for cosmetics, as long as it's a one-to-one transaction. It's not, pay us £5 and you get a chance at getting the thing you want.
Yeah, or, because through the Neocache, they also do the thing where it's in numbers that are not relevant to the amount of money that you spent.
Oh, yeah, it's silly.
Yeah, it's the standard thing of, like, you got a genetically engineered number, and it's never enough for exactly what you want, so you have to buy more, and it's more economical to buy way more than you need, so you do that. Yeah, it's a well-known tactic that everybody does, and it doesn't mean that it's good.
And also, don't forget that, again, you and I, we like video games. We've dealt with this shit. We've navigated this shit for probably about 10 years now.
Yeah, easy.
Don't forget, these companies focus test this shit.
Yes.
They specifically test, okay, how much money is on the border of people getting mad.
Yeah, so what is the most we can squeeze out of people before they go, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, no question. Like, they do this. They look it up. Gacha companies do the exact same thing, except Gacha have got the added benefit of you get a little tingle every time you gamble because it's basically like any other addiction.
Yeah, and they make a little animation that's like, ooh, yes, this is the thing.
It played the good noise.
Boy.
Now I get the good feelings, and now my soul is crushed because I spent $2,000 on a fucking JPEG.
Yeah, and it's even. I think it's actually even more soul crushing when you spend an amount of money, any amount of money, and all you get is a fucking 2-star.
Well, here's the thing, Rick, is like when I used to play Fate Go, I didn't spend money on that game except for once a year around Christmas time when I'd put about a tenner into the game, because if you pay a tenner, you get to roll on this special gacha that will guaranteed give you a 5-star that you can't get except for during limited runs.
Sure, yeah, so it's like a limited rerun grab bag 5-star banner.
Pretty much. In fact, the way it would do it as well is it would have 8 of these. You can only roll on one of them, but they've got 8 of them, and each of them are for each of the class types. The 8th one being, here's all the other classes that aren't Rider. And
yeah, the ones that are not your main class, so like your alter ego and your
Foreigner and all that shit.
I was going to call it outsider, but yeah, it's foreigner, ain't it? Yeah.
Well, Foreigner, because Japanese hates people who aren't Japanese.
Yeah.
Just bear that in mind, weebs. When you visit Japan, they don't like you.
Yeah.
If you go to the touristy places and spend money, they'll be like, oh, yes, we love you, hello, and they'll take care of you. As soon as you leave, they're going to be like, oh, did you see that fucking arsehole?
Yeah. Yeah, Gaijin is just a short version of the slightly more polite version, which is Gaikokujin.
Rick, do you want to talk about the Neopets black market?
Oh, yeah, the black market was a place you could go.
No, it's not.
Okay, a different black market.
Yeah, so the art style changed in Neopets.
Yeah.
But it didn't affect every single Neopet, meaning some kept the old art style, meaning that for a fucking long time, these Neopets that didn't change art style were able to be sold at a premium.
Okay.
So yeah, that's
actually kind of cool.
That it's not cool because it's like people fucking holding fake JPEG animals hostage over 12-year-olds.
Yeah, people doing like stamp collecting, but with precursor NFTs.
I mean, it's owned by an NFT studio nowadays.
Well, it is now, yeah, but like, yeah, because they weren't making more of the old ones, were they? So like that technically was like a precursor to what an NFT is now.
But the website and studio and team found out about this earlier this year and decided to crack down on this and fix the problem by charging
updating all the old ones.
No. They will charge you Neocash for a style token, and if you buy this style token, it allows you to toggle between old and new style.
Okay, so the new style is actually rather recent then, I guess.
I mean, apparently it was like 2007.
All right, okay.
But yeah, so the solution to this is we're not going to fix this problem, we're just going to allow people to pay us instead to access the old art style.
Man, what a capitalist way of doing things. We're not going to fix the problem, we're just going to monetize it.
However, it will fix the problem when people are charging real money on the side and charging stupid amounts because it's hard to do.
Yeah. It fixes what they see as a problem, which is they're not getting a slice of the pie that they created.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's also fixing the problem. Like,
yeah, sure.
You're right. It's fixing the problem in a really roundabout way that entirely benefits the website and the company. However, it does also fix the actual problem, because who's going to pay this random stranger on the internet money or services, or you don't know what people are doing.
Yeah.
When you can just pay the website. I'm just pulling a number out my arse. I don't know if this is the actual number. Pay the actual website a $5 and you can just get it.
Oh, more than that, but yeah.
Again, I'm just using an arbitrary number, Rick. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. It reminds me a little bit of when, I think you've also seen the Pirate Software video of when the gold farmers found a way to hack people's accounts, and 2 of the 3 companies that were gold farming were using this thing, and the 3rd company was like, they contacted Blizzard, told them, this is what they're doing, this is the security hole you need to patch. Yeah. They are tanking the price of gold.
Yeah.
It's affecting our business.
I mean, it was very short-sighted of the other two firms.
Yeah. To use an exploit to steal gold from the universe and then sell it for less and less and less because, there was more and more of it available.
I also think Warcraft is dumb in a lot of its practices, so
Yeah. Like, the fact that you can buy the Warcraft tokens, which is just the quote-unquote legalized real money trade thing from Blizzard themselves, means that the gold farmers really have to compete with that.
It's just a dumb system. Any system that allows you to get a premium item using free currency is always going to be exploited.
Yeah, totally.
But anyway, Neopets. We're talking about Neopets. We haven't really talked about our memories much. Do you remember any of the games?
Other than bumper cars, I remember Doubloon Disaster was the one that I played to get the most Neopoints that I could as quickly as possible. It was a little game where you had a rowboat.
I do remember this game,
around, yeah, you went around like collecting coins from the pond, and the gimmick with the rowboat was that it could pick up speed, but it could only turn when it was stationary.
I don't remember that specific mechanic, but I do remember collecting doubloons, and I remember the hazards were stuff like whirlpools, and occasionally you'd get a pirate ship.
Yeah, a little pirate ship. I think landmines were another one that you had. Not landmines, sea mines.
I mean, same thing, different territory.
Yeah, a landmine with the spikes. The ones that look like sea urchins.
Yeah, you could just point to Finding Nemo, my dude.
Yeah. They look like pufferfish. Or.
Well, I used to play Crash a lot as a kid. I know what they look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Meerka Chase, which was just Snake.
Sure. Okay.
So you had a meerkat, or not a meerkat, sorry, a meerka, and that would be the head of the snake, basically, and you'd go around picking up negs.
Yes, Neopet eggs, negs.
And you gotta be very careful how you say that word. And
it was before the existence of negging. It was great.
Yeah, you'd pick those up, and it would add one to your tail, and the better the colour of the egg, the more points it was worth.
Yeah.
You had I think it was a monthly competition. It might have even been bi-weekly. I can't remember, but there was a thing called Better Than You.
Okay.
Where they take an NPC from the universe of Neopets, and it'd be like, yeah, I'm the best at blah 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 blah. Here's my score on XYZ game, and it would just be like, okay, so if you beat this score during this 2 weeks period, you're better than them, and do you get a prize, which was usually a bunch of Neopoints and an item that wasn't super rare but annoying to get usually.
Yeah. Grand Theft. It was not Grand Theft Auto.
I don't remember this.
It was just a little maze, basically.
Oh, okay. This might have been either before or after my time.
Yeah, it might have been after our time.
I thought. Hang on. I thought we were talking about games we remember playing. You haven't got a list up.
No.
So how can it be after your time if you're the one bringing it up?
I just generally remembered it. There was a couple of Quest games.
Yes, you had NeoQuest and NeoQuest 2.
Yes.
I don't remember NeoQuest 2 very well. I remember NeoQuest 1 because it was kind of fucked. It was one of those. Okay, so you know how they do Trials in Tainted Space?
Yeah.
Yeah, it controls like that.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd have random encounters. You'd have to pick up wands. Wands would be your weapons. You played as a loop, which is just a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would never beat that game. It never held my interest for too long. And the fucking funny thing is if I went back and played it now, I'd probably think it was fun.
Yeah. There's the, whatchamacallit, it was like a Destructomatic game where you had to like blow up the blocks.
Yes, that was the Tyrania game.
Yeah, the Tyrania game. They released a sequel to it, so they got rid of the first one. So the first one was in like the vault.
Yeah.
So you couldn't earn Neopoints on the vaulted games because they were just there for fun.
That being said, though, the second one was just the first game, but with different graphics.
Yeah, it was better graphics and different sounds.
Yeah. Speaking of, I think this was a Neopets game where you had to brush the teeth of one of the dinosaur Neopets.
Okay.
Yeah. So you kept brushing, and the longer a tooth wasn't brushed for, it would start to go green until it fell out.
Yeah, fair enough.
You had the Outer Door Cup, which was it started as a yearly event. I don't know if they started doing it more frequently or something, but it started with when a World Cup was out. And
right, okay.
It was basically just a mini football game. It was 4v4, and yeah, you'd play the game. You'd select a team to support, and
right,
all of your wins and victories would go towards that team's total standing.
Sure.
I remember on their forums, it's the only time I ever posted on the forums because they would people were manually tracking the scores of their team. So you'd post in the thread what your scores were, and they'd add it to the total. And it was fun. It's the first time I started doing two things at once.
Sure.
Because I wanted to contribute to my team because I felt like I felt like it gave me meaning during that period of my life. But it was also a very easy and somewhat boring game. Like, games would last only 3 minutes. And someone just said in that thread, just open up a movie in a different tab and watch the movie while you're playing the game. And I went, that's a fucking great idea.
Yeah, okay.
And I've been doing it since.
Obviously not while you're editing, because you need to, listen to things, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, I mean, like, if I play a game that doesn't really have audio, like where the audio is just a looping soundtrack, I will usually be watching something else at the same time.
Yeah, totally.
And that thing I'm watching is usually something I've already watched, because that way I don't have to pay attention.
And half the time the game is something you've already played. So, like, it's very easy to just listen to cartoons while playing Dark Souls 2, for instance.
Yeah, for me it's usually Spyro or Crash, because you really don't need the audio for those games.
Yeah, I get you.
And also, I remember playing those games as a kid and getting real fucking tired of the fucking soundtracks.
Sure.
Spyro is special because Spyro has a unique sound for every level. Crash does not.
Okay.
Crash has like 5 themes that kind of rotate.
Sure.
But yeah, I digress. I'm trying to think of other Neopets games. You had Minesweeper, which was just Minesweeper.
Yeah, and a bunch of card games.
I don't remember card games being on that site.
I think it was like really basic ones like Cheat, but
I don't remember. Cheat for sure wasn't on there.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't remember there being card games. I remember them being like just generic Flash games, sort of reskinned to fit Neopets.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the very first time I ever played Angry Birds, it was a Neopets version of it before Angry Birds was made.
I also don't remember that being a thing. I think you might be conflating things.
I think you launched the Griffin thing at Things. It was one of the medieval ones.
Okay.
It was like, how far can you launch the Griffin?
Okay. Well, how far you can launch the thing has been a thing for ages. Angry Birds is very specific because you're trying to destroy things inside buildings that fall.
Yeah, fair enough. But it's one of those, like, when Angry Birds came out and people were going nuts for it, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I've played this game before. It just wasn't called Angry Birds at the time.
Yeah, I think the catapulting things and trying to get long distances has been a thing since time immemorial. But Angry Birds' specific style was, like, took that and kind of added to it.
Yeah, I did like a real-time destruction thing to it. Because it wasn't even like Worms, because when you destroy things in Worms, like, the rest of things just get left behind in a gravity-defying block.
Well, yeah,
whereas
because
in Angry Birds it falls, because it's got physics.
Because in Worms has physics nowadays, but...
Oh, it does now, yeah. Well, even back then it had some physics, just not for the land.
But again, the land was stationary.
Yeah, the land was stationary, the physics was for, like, water when they added that, and for things like fire had physics, even back in the early ones.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, that you've got objects that rested above that weren't geography, those would still fall down holes and stuff.
Yeah, like mines as well, yeah.
Wow, yeah, it's fine. So speaking of Meridel, that zone, there was a game I absolutely adored because it was a turn-based strategy game.
Oh, okay.
And it was basically just chess, but with extra steps, but it was really fun. It was like the Invasion of Meridel.
That sounds kind of cute, actually.
And you'd have your pieces that had set movements and set attack ranges, and if your piece got killed, the enemy would take that piece and it would then be on their team, but vice versa.
Right, okay.
And there were some units you could only get by defeating them and recruiting them from the other side. So it was
because you didn't start with them, so if you wanted to have if you had no bishops to start with, then you could only get bishops from killing enemies. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was basically my first ever exposure to a Fire Emblem-esque game. That's way oversimplifying it, but it's the closest thing I can think of.
Neo Emblem. Fire pets.
Jesus. But yeah, I'm trying to think. You had the Willy Wonka shop that was just weird.
Oh yeah, wasn't it like a Kyrie or something that had a hat on?
I don't know if it was called a Kyrie, but it was basically a circle with legs.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of the ones that look a bit like Wii weasels?
No. It was again, I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically an oval with two little legs, kind of like a tadpole from the front.
Sure, okay.
And it would have a Willy Wonka hat on, and and when you went into the shop, he went, "No one ever goes in, no one ever comes out, but chocolate comes out from the truckload." And I'm like, okay, that's weird.
And then you found out that's what Wonka said. Or people said about Wonka.
Yeah, people used to say no one ever goes in and no one ever comes out. They didn't say the chocolate comes out by a truckload.
Yeah.
But yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about with Neopets? Because I'm kind of running on blanks now.
Yeah, I think I'm running out of those. Can you remember you had your
Mohog.
Your one pet, your Mohog. Can you remember the ones that you put up for adoption?
No.
Okay.
Because the Mohog was the main one. At a certain point, I did paint it a special colour too, so I was very chuffed with it.
Yeah, I didn't have any special colours, I don't think.
Well, my special colour was the fairy brush, which was expensive but not expensive.
Yeah, so yeah, there was like a sliding scale of like false scarcity.
Yeah.
Like the dark brush was ridiculously expensive because it was only put out like multiple years before anybody started playing the game.
Well, it was also ridiculously expensive because it was the coolest edgelord one.
Oh yeah. Like it's like some of them just made things, even the premium ones, some of them just made things a different color that was a premium color that you couldn't get otherwise. But the dark brush like literally changed your wings into bat wings and stuff like that if you had wings. It was great.
Usually you would grow wings.
Yeah, if you didn't have wings before, you got them from the dark brush, and like you became like a little vampire, got your little vampire teeth.
Yeah. The adoption center thing was really fucking sad.
Yeah, and also another thing was the freebie hole. Like when you threw things away, you could throw them into the freebie hole where people could just go click on it and pick it up. I could never find anything of this when I was at home on dial-up internet, but when I was at school on broadband, I could sometimes get something.
Yeah, it wasn't well implemented.
Nah, it was just, here are 10 things. Click on one of them, and if you're the first person to click on it, you get it.
Oh, you saying that did just jog my memory that during December they used to have an advent calendar.
All right.
Every day in December up until Christmas, so it was only 24 days, you would just get something. It was a universal reward, everyone got the same thing, but it was just nice. Yeah,
it was just fun to feel like you had like some randomness behind it.
Yeah, and also totally not a trick to make you log in every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about the final part of our Flash grab bag, probably the least flashy of them all, but it's still in here. We're going to talk about Gaia Online, which came out in 2003?
Yeah, it's one of those, like, I never played this at all, like at all. But like you said to me before the thing, they had Flash games on them.
Yeah, they had a couple of Flash games, which have since apparently expanded a bit. But yeah, it wasn't really about the games, it was about the forums. This was basically a message board for basically 12 and up.
Yeah. So I'm not saying I'd grown out of message boards by then, because that was like peak time for when I was on Easy Board. But also I didn't have broadband, so anything that was more than just a forum with a banner, like, I couldn't load it properly.
I totally get you. Like, I would have been on AOL dial-up at the time.
Yeah. Like, it was like completely groundbreaking to be on PSO1 and just be able to walk around and also have a chat box.
I get you. Interesting thing about this Gaia Online website is, again, the Wikipedia has a very interesting thing at the top where it says, this article needs to be updated. Please help update this article to reflect recent events or newly available information. And then in brackets, October 2020.
Yep. Yep.
This article's not been updated in 4 years.
Well, that's entirely fine, especially if, nothing has happened in that amount of time.
I know, but if nothing's happened, should that banner not be going away? What happened in 2020, I wonder?
Yeah.
No,
did it close down?
No, it still exists.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm on their main webpage.
Yeah, fair enough.
It seems to have got, again, this is like another one of those websites where Neopets is the only website out of these three that has had an actual visual change as far as the front page goes. Sure. This looks more or less the same, apart from the fact that, there's slightly different graphics because of, I'm going to assume changes in the quote-unquote story.
Sure, fair enough.
A story you had to follow by reading the webcomics.
Yes. You had to read the webcomics. You had to, half of the time you had to play the little games.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, there's not much to talk about here, really. On the game side of things, you had fishing and blackjack. I remember fishing fondly because I met a lot of people that were just doing the same thing that I was doing, which is we're going to fish, and there's a chat box at the bottom. Might as well shoot the shit, because what else are we going to do?
Yeah. Okay.
So
kind of cool.
Yeah, I met a few people that way. This is one of the ways where I've got one of the funniest stories to me, and I've never been sure if it's that funny.
Okay, we'll find out.
Are you ready?
I'm ready to receive your dubiously funny story.
This is so long ago in the past, we were still using MSN Messenger.
Your days of insulting me over MSN Messenger are numbered. I've blocked you.
Do you remember nudging?
Yes.
The most
it was so annoying.
obnoxious thing in the world that you would only do to annoy someone.
Yeah, I had to tell people not to nudge, and then I disabled it.
I understand the intention. The intention is, I messaged this person 5 minutes ago and I really need an answer. I'm going to nudge them. However, what actually happened is a bunch of 12-year-olds would be talking to their friends and then be like, I'm going to be annoying for the next 5 minutes now because I can.
Yep. And it would just make your entire screen vibrate and go...
It was such a bad idea. Oh.
Yeah. It was a cute idea that was implemented in the worst way possible.
Oh, God.
It's like, yeah, this could be good. This could be useful. However, I must only use these powers to annoy.
Like, 100%. Anyway, I digress. We were talking about MSN and we're never going to be able to mention it again. But yeah, this is what happened is I was talking to him, because here's what's happened is on Gaia, it'd be like, oh, I had fun talking to you. Do you want to talk over MSN? And it's like, yeah, sure. Now, for the sake of this story, I'm going to tell you how old I was at the time. I was 14.
Sure.
That's going to become relevant in a few minutes. So I was talking to this girl, allegedly. That's what they said they were, and I have no reason to doubt them. And she told me that she was 16. So it was like, okay, that's cool. Whatever. This was before the Rouge the Bat incident.
I was going to say.
And I was talking to another friend of mine at the same time because I had multiple chats open to talk to different people. And I was telling them, I'm talking to this girl I met on this website. And he was like, that's cool. Hey, do you want to have a group chat? And I'm like, I see no issue with this. And so we made a group chat with this girl, me and my mutual friend, who, for the sake of this argument, will say their name was Dan, but that isn't their real name.
If your name is not Dan, he might be talking about you.
Listen, I'll tell you this. If the person who I'm talking about is listening, they'll know it was them.
Okay, yeah.
But I highly doubt they'll be listening. I haven't spoken to that guy in about 3 years. But anyway, I digress. So we got to talking, and this girl said, oh, I have a confession to make. And I was like, how interesting. So in this group chat, and she says, I'm actually 12. I'm like, okay. And then, I shit you not, 2 seconds after that message, my friend Dan messaged me in private saying, dude, we're going to jail. And I'm like, what? Now, I want to stress, we didn't talk about anything that was inappropriate. And we were also 14.
Yeah.
And yet my friend's first reaction is, we're going to jail for even talking to a 12-year-old. Something that could realistically happen at school.
Yes. It could happen at school or even at home if you had a younger sister or whatever.
But it's like, we were talking about like fucking biker mice from Mars or some stupid bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay. I then stopped talking to that person, the girl in question, because my friend said I had to. And I was like, okie dokie. I was like, fucking... So anyway, I find that amusing as fuck.
It was kind of funny, dude, we're going to jail.
Now, don't get me wrong, if 32-year-old me was talking to someone online and they said, I'm 12, I'd be like, I'm going to stop talking to you now, because that's weird.
Yeah, it is a bit, isn't it? But
14-year-old me...
Yeah, like, still a child, okay to talk to other children.
That's like saying that I'm 32 if I was talking to a 30-year-old. So I'm sorry, ma'am, I can't continue this conversation, I might go to jail.
You're only 30, I'm going to prison.
Oh, Jesus Christ. What's that rule the fucking weird dude bros have about dating people?
Oh, it's half your age plus 7.
That's weird.
Yeah, like that's the minimum acceptable age is half your age plus 7. Or the minimum legal age, whichever is lower. I mean, whichever is higher. I mean, this is exactly the same kind of shit that these guys will, like, pull, isn't it? So, like, it's on brand for that kind of bollocks.
Well, the thing is, like, my logic has always been, like, if you meet someone and they're already an adult when you meet them, there's no issue.
Yeah.
Now, if you knew someone when they were, I don't know, let's say for argument's sake, 13 and you were 19, and then you started going out with them the moment they turned legal, that's creepy.
Yeah, but if you meet them again when you're both in your, like, late 20s...
No, I still think that's weird.
It's a bit weird, yeah. Like,
I think
you've got to...
if you meet someone when they're 20 and you're already in your 30s, that's perfectly fine. You're both adults when you meet.
Yeah.
It's one of those weird things where I don't agree, like, not even disagree with. There's this woman who's dated a lot of high-profile, like, 90-year-olds, and she's only about 27 now. And people are like,
sure.
Oh, that's gross. And it's like, is it though? Everyone involved knows what's going on.
Yeah, it's like a more extreme version of Leonardo DiCaprio, ain't it?
And it's like, if they met her after she turned, once she was already an adult, there's nothing wrong going on. Yeah, they're fucking someone who is way younger than them, but she's always been an adult in their books.
Yeah.
And
just a much younger adult than they can probably remember.
And also, like, I'm not saying that she's doing it for money or fame or notoriety or anything. I'm just saying, I know some 70-year-old women who I'd be like, yeah.
I don't know many 70-year-old women that I'd be like, yeah, with, but Dolly Parton exists, so...
Well, okay, I don't know them personally. I mean, I know of them.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because this person has been with, like, fucking... I think they're currently with, like, Bill Maher, who's, like, 67.
Yeah.
But they've also been with Jack Nicholson, who's, like, 800.
He is, yeah. I guess it's like the attraction that some women have to Hugh Hefner.
Yeah, but apparently, by all accounts, he was kind of polite about it.
Yeah. A considerate and rich lover.
And also, again, I generally don't see an issue with someone sleeping with someone because they're rich.
Yeah.
As long as everybody knows what's going on when they get involved in that kind of relationship, what's the issue?
Yeah, well, as long as everyone's like safe, sane, and consensual.
That's exactly it. As long as the person who is probably not that good looking but has a lot of money knows that the only reason they're sleeping with you is because of your money, and as long as the other person involved is like, listen, I'm only sleeping with you because you're super rich, where's the issue?
Yeah. But yeah, Gaia Online.
Yeah, Gaia Online. Let's talk about this. Yeah, there was a load of forums. These forums I did take a lot of. I participate a lot in. It was a lot of talking about like movies and shit.
Sure. So it was like they have like different segments of the forums, but overall it's an everything forum, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. They very much like a traditional forum. It's just they had the game side of things. Your avatar wasn't a picture. You have to have a Gaia avatar.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So no matter the amount that you've spent like money and time wise into customizing your avatar becomes your Gaia avatar's benefit on the forums, I assume.
Pretty much, yeah. That being said, it's very easy to make your avatar look decent with very little amount of in-game currency.
Sure.
And also, if you're just participating in the forums, no one gives a fuck what your avatar looks like.
Yeah, they're just they will get a read on your personality from your actions and words.
Yeah, so I was super into Guns N' Roses at the time. This is how long ago this was. So my avatar had long, puffy hair that looked almost like Slash's and a guitar.
Sure, okay.
And was smoking a cigarette.
Okay.
So, again, it's very easy to just make I like Guns N' Roses. This is my avatar. But yeah, you had all sorts of things. I participated in a lot of forum-based games where...
right, okay.
It was really simple stuff, like person would post word, you would have to post, the next post would be... Anyone could join in, you didn't have to, sign up or anything. And it was just like, my word is noggin. That's a bad one, they both have, that has ends.
It starts with... Yeah, it's like the beginning and end word, thing, yeah.
So it's like, my word is demon, so your next word would be nevermore.
And then you might go with eccentric.
Yeah. But because there's literally hundreds of people playing, by the time you check in again, you'll be like 5 pages would be new.
Yeah.
And they'd also encourage posting on their forums by the fact that every time you posted a message, you would get gold.
Okay.
Which was the in-game currency. You could also buy Gaia Online's premium currency to get premium items, but again, I never knew anyone personally who did.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
That's a cute way of encouraging engagement.
It also meant there was a forum invented called the Trash Forum.
Sure, so you just shitpost in the trash forum just to get numbers.
Yeah, like, I think there was like a cooldown between posts. Like, you couldn't post every second. You have to post, like, every minute you'd get a random amount of gold between 0 and 100.
Sure, and I guess you could do it separately on different forums as well.
Oh yeah, you didn't have to post in the same place, no, but the timer was universal.
Okay.
That being said, I also used to roleplay.
Sure.
There was all text-based roleplay, and they were all shit. At the time, I was having fun, but looking back, I'm like, oh, this is just wank.
Yeah. It's not even playground with dice, it's just playground.
Well, that's just it. It's just like, basically, the person who created the thread would dictate the story, and you'd react to the story, and it's like, this is kind of boring. Well, again, retroactively, I'm like, how the fuck did I have fun with that? But at the time, I remember having fun with it.
Yeah, totally.
Just looking at the front page of Gaia Online, they've got a bulletin board at the front, which is just showing you some of the popular topics. Like, one of them is made by admin VTubers. Tell us about your model. So, these are all... Oh, this is actually all just official posted stuff. So you got Lanza's work diary. That's someone who works behind the scenes maintaining the site and just telling you what they actually do.
Okay.
Yeah, VTubers, tell us about your model. I assume that's just because they're trying to be hip.
Yeah.
One of the weirdest ones on here is the Gaia Online official polling location. Win prizes. What?
Yeah.
Okay, so they had an election at the same time as the American election, but there was only one candidate.
Mayor Quimby. Vote for Quimby.
Yeah.
If you were running for mayor, he'd vote for you.
It's a great slogan. They had a bunch of competitions, basically, that was come up with a campaign slogan and come up with a I voted sticker. So, okay, it didn't actually have anything to do with the American general election. It's just them taking a piss.
I voted for Kodos.
That meme has never been more prevalent than it is today, of don't blame me, I voted for Kodos, but referring to people who couldn't be asked to vote and voted for third parties.
Yeah. Throw away your vote. Well, because the thing is, a third-party vote just takes away from votes for someone that you actually want to win.
Or rather, gives votes to someone you don't want to win.
Oh yeah, it gives seat to people that you don't want to win, because it means that, you could have stopped this. You chose not to.
Here's the thing, Rick, is I fundamentally understand this problem because I've always had to vote that way.
Yeah.
I know what party I have to vote for in this area, not based on who I want to win, but based on who I don't want to win.
I don't care who wins, I just want Kylo Ren to lose.
Yeah, except replace Kylo Ren with Tory.
Tory behaviour, yeah.
But anyway, I digress. Again, there's not much we can really talk about with Gaia Online because I'm the only one with experience from it, and it would just be going, I met a lot of cool people on that website, and also it was more a forum than an actual Flash site, so...
Yeah, and if we're just chatting about forums, then, yeah, Easyboard also means very little to you, because it was just a forum. But, like, each one was owned by a person and felt a little bit unique because of it. Like, I donated to the one that I met a lot of people through. And by donated, I mean 1 year I paid for the premium for that year.
Yeah, no one's going to criticise you. Like, Archive of Our Own always has a yearly fucking not charity drive, but a fund drive.
Yeah, like Wikipedia seems to be always fucking doing it.
Well, again, if the thing doesn't have ads on it, then they have to get money somehow. And usually it's like, you use this website, can you give us some money? And my answer's always no, but like, I'll think about you.
Yeah.
No Wikipedia,
like, no,
I can't give you a tenner right now.
But I'll think about it. I've thought about it. It was a bad idea.
At the end of the day, yes, I want Wikipedia to stay independent and not be bought. However, no, I can't afford to give you a tenner ever.
Yeah.
I don't even make enough money to pay taxes.
No.
And the worst thing is, on their little banner, it's like, will you give us money? And I went, maybe later. And they went, cool, can you give us an email address so we can remind you? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to click no then.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what this means. Yeah. The maybe later is not a maybe later. It's a polite way of saying no.
Well, I told you about that fucking charity outside Lidl, right?
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah, it was like a maybe not today. So like, oh yeah, well, can you give us all of your details so we can keep in contact?
Well, no, it's worse than that because they lied to me, and that's what lost me. Is they said we're not actually looking for money today. We're looking for personal details so that we can send emails when we do need money. And I went, okay, that sounds fair. And, you know, it was for an air ambulance. So I'm like, this does genuinely help people. So, yeah, I'll give you my email address. And they went, excellent. How much money? And I went, you said you didn't want money. He went, yeah, but I've got to write down an amount that you're going to pledge every month. And I went, oh, no, then. I didn't say I was going to give you money every month. I said I was going to give you my email address. And he went, oh, but, like, you probably spend more than this on chocolate. And I went, okay, well, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, because I had my bag of shopping. There was no chocolate in it. It was bread and fucking eggs and boring shit.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, goddamn. I was just like, that's fucking rude. I know I'm fat, but fucking hell.
Yeah, like...
There's the thing. You're not going to guilt trip me via that. You're going to make me hate you.
Yeah. It's like the whole thing about sniffing their own farts, preachy people. Of like you don't convert people by preaching. You just make them hate you.
Charities rub me the wrong way anyway. Like, not because they don't necessarily have good causes, but usually the people gathering money for those good causes have got the scummiest tactics.
Yeah, and the worst thing is, if it didn't work, they wouldn't be doing it.
Well, that's just it. Like, in college, obviously I did animal care, so a lot of animal lovers. My teacher at the time, she didn't like being called a teacher, but that's what she was. She said that she donates to a dog charity. She donates, she didn't say how much she donated, as is her right. And one day she got a phone call from them, and they said, we know you're interested in protecting dogs. Could we get a monthly donation from you? And she said, I already donate monthly. The next question was, can you donate more? And it's like, fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, as soon as someone's already a customer, and when you're a donation customer, that's all you do is just you give them money for nothing. Yeah, it's just a case of, this person's already a sucker. Can we suck them for more?
Well, they're not necessarily suckers. They are trying to... that is them doing their bit for whatever reason why they think they should. But, you know, the fact that you prey on people who are already kind enough to give you charity money.
Yeah.
And you've got to bear in mind, a lot of these people are older.
Yeah, and statistically, the people that give the most money are the people that have the least to spare.
Well, yeah.
Because they have the empathy for what it means to, not have the most money.
Well, we already know this because for those of you listening who are not from the UK, in the UK, every other year we have a thing called Comic Relief. We also have Children in Need every year, and it's always the same thing. It's like, pick up the phone and donate us a tenner or a fiver, however much you can spare. Disregarding the fact that all the people who are doing these donation drives are much better off than you are.
Oh yes, these multi-millionaire presenters. Yeah, it's... like, they could donate their fee for that program and make probably about as much money.
Well, okay, here's the thing, Rick, is a lot of those people don't get paid for what they're doing for that one act. However, that's not the point.
We knew that Wogan did.
We know that Wogan did, yeah. Wogan will always be a bastard for that.
Yeah. Although at least he admitted to it eventually.
It does make you question... Like, the only person who it would break my heart if they said they got paid for it would be if Lenny Henry said, yeah, I got paid the entire time.
Yeah.
Because he is so passionate about that project. But if it turns out now he was taking a backhander for it, it'd be like, well, fuck you, you're a piece of shit. I'm not saying he does that, and I really hope he doesn't.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, this is one of those where I don't think we can really do a best of weakest link moment, so I guess it's just going to be a wind down.
I guess we're just going to say goodbye, so do you want to do the outro?
Yes, if you liked the episode, you got the comment section down below on YouTube and indeed on Spotify. And if you're not listening via one of the many audio platforms, you can send us a message via the email, which, if you have any memories of any of the three things we talked about, Newgrounds, Neopets and Gaia Online, or any other flash sites that we didn't manage to mention today. So just, it's your own grab bag is the comic section today. Just tell us your memories, tell us what you liked, tell us why we're wrong about why we liked things that we liked when we were small.
My favourite part about this outro, Rick, is you fucked up at a certain point, but then you kept going instead of just throwing it to me and I could have saved you.
Yeah. But yeah, the email that you would send is...
Yeah, send us an email at nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com. Let us know your favourite memories from the websites we brought up today. As Rick mentioned, Newgrounds, Neopets and Gaia Online. And let us know what future ideas we can have for grab bags. The idea behind today was we both both wanted to do something on Neopets, but didn't think we could make it last for very long. Oh, how wrong we were. And
Yes.
I even argued this, but whatever. So we tacked on Newgrounds and Gaia Online as well, because they're both kind of in the same theme. But let us know what sort of things you want to see in the future, what your fond memories are, and indeed, if you send us a funny email or just an informative email, we'll be sure to read it out on the show. Other than that, join us again next week for more retrospective stuff.
Bye, everybody.